Hello, and welcome to this introduction video about human design. And I thought I'd explain to you a little bit how you can read your chart and what it is actually that you're looking at when you pull up your own design, or you're interested to learn a little bit more about the basics of what your chart is telling you and what it all means. Because if you have had the chance to look up your design, to look up your own chart, you can do that in mybodygraph.com or in the tool I'm using here, mayamechanics.com. You can Google that. And then if you enter your birth dates, your birth information, your details, then something like this will pull up. So basically your unique design, your unique chart. So I wanted to go into the basics, so the surface level of what it means that of what you're looking at. So here's my design, and yours will probably look different, even though some of the centers might be colored in the same way. Still on a deeper level, every chart, every design is different. So that's good to understand, to keep in mind. And what you see here is basically the most important things to remember, to understand a little bit when you first come in contact with human design, or human design finds you and you're curious, you're interested about it. So I'll go into these things also a little bit, what it means and how to read it, how to use it. This is my design, and every design, so every chart looks like this in a way. Every body graph has 9 centered, because we're 9 centered beings, and every center has a function, has a meaning, it stands for something. And I'm not going to go into all the details about the centers, but that's basically what you're looking at. It's like the energetic translation of you, and of who you came here to be, who you are designed to be, both on an unconscious and conscious level. And to be clear, every person has these 9 centers. We all consist of these 9 centers. We're all 9 centered beings. But basically what human design shows, and this chart also shows, is that how these energies and how these different centers communicate or relate to each other or work, or emit energy, is different for everyone. That's basically how you can look at it, that we're not all wired the same way. And that's what you're looking at in this design. And obviously there are a lot of details. You see a lot of numbers, lines, but for the purpose of this video, I really wanted to zoom out a little bit and look at the surface level, so the centers. And the centers can tell you a lot already about you, about your design, even though the explanation or the description can be a bit generalized. There's still some information and some understanding to get from it. When you look at this chart, you see that there's a lot of colors. There's some of the centers, so these boxes here, are colored in. It's this one, this yellow one here. So the throat center is this, the G center, the heart center or ego center, the sacral center, and the spleen. And these centers are colored in my design because they are connected to another center via these what we call channels. You see here these lines, this one, the red one. So you can say that they're highways or roads, whatever you want to call it, but they connect the centers, and that is what makes them colored in, because these pathways, these lines, the channels that we call in human design, they actually they connect both energies of the centers, of the energy hubs, so to speak. That's what you also can call the centers. So for example, here, this channel here connects the sacral center, which is all about life force energy and fertility, sexuality. It's the energy to work, to do, to produce, to be creative. And that here, it's directly connected to the throat, which is about communication, manifestation, bringing things into action. So for me in this design, there's this, I have the capacity to bring things into life or into action from my sacral center, from the response that my sacral center has, immediately, instantly. That is basically what this channel is communicating. It's about bringing the energy from this center into manifestation, like immediately. So as you can see, there are a lot of channels, a lot of pathways, 64 in total. So it's really different for everyone how these centers are connected or how they are designed in your unique chart. And if they're colored in via a specific channel, it means that you have consistent energy, or this specific energy is consistent within you. You have access to that 24/7. It's here what you emanate out into the world, and what you're here to bring, what makes you you, what makes you unique. And when I'm saying access, I don't mean that you're conscious of it, because some of the energy in your design is unconscious and the other half is conscious. So access doesn't really mean that you can control it or that you can influence it. It's just there, right? So the colored in centers, they're reliable, they're fixed, they're consistent in a specific way, depending on the specific lines. And these lines and these numbers that you see here, they all correspond with the numbers you see on the right side here in this column, here on the personality side, and on this side. So, for example, here you can see this one, this 20, corresponds with this gate here, and the 34 also here in the design. So that's how your chart actually is created. That's how it's that's the link with the numbers on these sides and this side. And as you can see, the numbers on the left side, where it states design, those are red. And the lines are red, the gates that are red. So the gate is half a channel. it's like hanging there, but it's missing the other end, as you can see here. For example, this one, those are gates. And the other half on this side, as you can see, is black. That's the conscious side. We also call that personality. So we all have both sides in us. So there's a conscious side in us that's basically your mind, your personality side. It's who you think you are, and it's energy that if we probably we dig into your chart, and if someone described your chart for you, or you read about it in some human design books or material that you found on the internet, it's probably something that you would recognize of yourself, that you are aware of. And then on the design side, the red side, it's unconscious. So it's something that you're not aware of, that you don't have conscious access to. That's why I mentioned the access part. It's something that you're not conscious of. And it's also something that you cannot control. You cannot influence it. You cannot get it. It's just there, and it's part of your body. The design side, it's your body, and there's nothing you can really do about it. It's just there. And also the mixture between that is different in every chart, as you can see. For example, here for me, you see a lot of red channels, which means they are all unconscious for me. So this one and this one, these four are all unconscious energies within me. So they're a part of me, and I emanate that outwards, and it's energy that is always flowing. Not necessarily in a healthy or vital way, but it's there. And I cannot really control it, and I'm not aware of that. It's not conscious for me. It's within my body. But it can be totally different in your design. It can be that you have mostly black channels and maybe no red channels. That's possible. But in every design, there are 13 gates defined on the design side and 13 gates designed on the personality side. So that's fixed in every chart. But whether or not they make a channel, so the connection between two gates and connecting those energy hubs I talked about earlier, that's different in every design. So for example, it can be that the whole chart can be white, and then you're a reflector, because a reflector as a type also has all these 26 gates defined, but they don't make any channels. So then no energy hub is defined. So I'll get into that a little bit later. So that's a little bit intro on the centers, how they get defined by the channels, and then the gates that are also there, and then the personality and the design side. So you also see some whiteness in the design, things that are transparent. So here, for example, you see the head center, the ajna center, so that's the mind, then the solar plexus center here on the right side, which is all about emotions, and the root center here on the bottom, which is about drive, adrenaline, and stress. So these centers are what we call open or undefined. And probably you will have some centers undefined or white. There are people who have all the centers colored in. It's very rare, but it's possible that they have all the 9 centers. So, but probably you will have 1 or 2 or maybe a lot more centers white and defined. So, what does that mean? Well, first of all, I want to start with saying that There's no right or wrong here. There's no good or bad. Defined or colored in is not better or worse than open or white. So if you see your design, you're like, oh my God, there's so much whiteness here, there must be something wrong, or the other way around. No, you can totally forget that. It's not about wrong or right. There's no judgment here in design. It's just, it is what it is. This is just how you are uniquely wired, and that is perfect as it is for you. And there's no right or wrong. There's no better or worse. So that's something to really grasp before you understand about the centers. So I explained a little bit about what the colored in means, and that it was fixed, consistent, 24/7 access, what you emanate out here into the world. And then we have the white parts, so the white channels, also white gates, but also the white centers, and that's the other way around. So, for example, if you would color in all the openness, all the open centers, all the whiteness, you can get the complete opposite of what is colored in here. And that is what we call in human design the not self. So there's always, in every chart, there's parts, whether it's centers or channels or gates, that are non-consistent, that are not you on that are just not you on a consistent level, in a consistent way. But what happens is, because of conditioning, because of how we think we should be, when we get up in our minds, is that we think we have to be the whole chart. We think we have to have and be and produce and have access to all the chart, to all the energy, to all the centers, all the time. And because we don't, as you can see here, and as you probably can also see in your own design, we think there's something wrong with us. And what your mind is going to do is work really hard and it's trying to tell you that there's something wrong, that there's something missing, that you should have these energies also in a consistent way. And when that happens, is that you're really living from the openness, so living out of these centers, because your mind is telling you you have to be that. It wants to be that. But the fuck up, of course, is that that's not true. Because you only have to be yourself. Only the definition, the things that are colored in, that's the only thing you can be in a consistent way, in a reliable way, in your own unique way. So that's really funny if you think about it, right? And here, and that's why I love the visual also, you can actually see that there's openness, and you can see that there's parts here in my design, but also in your own, that are not consistent, that are unreliable, that are not fixed, but in potential are areas and energies you can become very wise about. And that is what I'm talking about, is the openness here, the open centers, the open channels. So instead of absorbing that energy from everyone around you or from the transits or whatever, your environment, in potential, you can become very wise there. You can be a mirror for others instead of clinging to that energy and thinking that it's you and making decisions from that place. Because that's also what human design gives you, right? This is what you're looking at, is kind of like a manual of who you are designed to be. And yeah, you can really start observing and start experimenting with living your design. And how do you do that? I'll get to that in a minute. But in the openness is really where where the mental fuck up actually starts. And that's probably also something in your design that you will be very aware of. Because in the openness, that's kind of what is grasping you with, like, it's like, that is what's taking you out, away from yourself, away from who you're designed to be. Because your mind is going to tell you a lot of stories there. And if you're going to act from that place, from what your mind is telling you, or what you're thinking you should do, or what you believe you should have or should be, that's when you're pulled away from yourself. So for me, you see here that there's 4 open centers, and your design can be more, it can be less, doesn't really matter. But of course, if you look at it in a general way, the more openness you have, the more open centers, the more, literally open you are, so susceptible and vulnerable maybe to the energies outside of you and to the energies of other people. So it's interesting, and it's nice if you can become aware of that, of course. So that's what this design, what this chart can also be helpful for, to become aware of things and not necessarily to do a lot of stuff. It's in my experience, your design is not something you can do. It's not a tool to get something or to get anywhere or to use this knowledge and understanding to create a better life for yourself or manifest whatever you think you want. In my experience, that's not what this is about. It has a lot to do with awareness. And this visual and this design, it gives you that manual, and it gives you words to what you're maybe already experiencing within yourself. It gives that translation of the energy. That's basically it. So obviously I'm not going to go into all the details about the numbers and what the energies all mean, because it's super layered and it's super unique to everyone. But the openness, and they're colored in, that's basically the continuous dynamic that you're also experiencing in your life. And this imprinting that you see here, that's basically what it is. This blueprint, this imprint of you, is based on where the planets were, so in what gates they were, in what gates they were on the day you were born, plus 88 days approximately before you were born, so that's the unconscious part. That is what gives you this imprinting. And you see also on the sides here, you see the planets, the different planets here. And that is what actually creates this whole image. And the imprinting, so the blueprint, so the gates, and then the channels, possible channels, and then the centers, that is what actually decides or creates, if you will, the language or the basic, the foundations on the right side here, the words they give them. So you have the type, the strategy, the signature, the not self, theme, authority, definition, profile, incarnation cross. You don't have to remember all of these right away, but these are like the basic things you can start with, and mainly the type, the strategy, and authority. And obviously the theme, the signature, and the not self is also handy. So yeah, I'll just start at the top. So the type, as you can see here, that is a manifesting generator. So that is me. And in total, there are 5 types. You can read about it on the internet. Yeah, there's a different division, and the type is basically about the aura. So the aura is, yeah, it's actually what's doing the talking, right? So yeah, when you step into in a room, it's your energy that speaks first before you do. Maybe you've heard that phrase. Your energy speaks louder than words, and that's basically what your aura is also doing. And if you speak about aura types, then there's 4, and it can be a bit confusing sometimes, especially, and I'm touching upon it because I'm a manifesting generator, as you can see here, and that can be a little bit confusing because some people say there are 5 types, some people say there are 4 types, but in the end, there are 4 aura types, and the manifesting generator here is a subtype of the generator, but it has the same aura as the generator, which is this open, enveloping aura that just pulls things towards it like a magnet. And that aura, so the why my type is a generator, that has to do with this specific center here, the sacral center, which is about life force. I explained that earlier, and it has the energy to do things, to produce, to create, and to literally generate life and reproduce life, if you will. And because it's defined in my specific way, that is what makes me the generator. And specifically, the manifesting part is because I have this motor. The sacral center is a motor center. It generates energy. It creates energy. Because this is directly connected to the throat via this channel, but also because I have another motor to the throat, this one, the heart center, is also a motor. Because of that, this is what makes me the manifesting generator. So, in response, which is my strategy to respond to life, in response, I have manifesting potential. I have manifesting power. And I'm not talking about manifestation in the sense of thinking my way through life or believing in something or through affirmations or whatever. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about bringing things into life. That's basically it. And because of this channel and because of the connection, the motor to the throat, that's what makes me the manifesting generator. So if I would not have a motor to the throat, so motor is one of these four. These four are the motor centers. If you don't have that connected directly to the throat or via another center, can be via another center, then I would be a generator. But this is the main center that makes me the generator. So if this center is colored in your design, the sacral center, then you are either a generator or a manifesting generator. You can also call us sacral beings. And we are approximately 70% of the population who are generating life, who are producing, who are creating the life force energy here on the planet. And I already mentioned a little bit about the strategy. You see here the strategy to respond. And to respond has directly to do with that aura, with that enveloping, open, magnetic, pulling in aura that will bring life to me. And that happens on a daily basis. And there's always something to respond to. On a micro level, on a macro level, there's always something that I can respond to. And as a generator and as a manifesting generator, for me, it's super important to live my life from that space. I'm designed to live in response. I'm designed to do, to produce, to generate in response to what comes to me from outside of myself, from from the external world. And whatever comes to me, whatever I pull in with my open enveloping aura, whether that's people, whether that's questions, emails, whatever, a text, something that you see, a book, something in a magazine, whatever that is, I can respond to from that place. Instead of initiating my way through life by what my mind thinks I should be doing. It's a very different dynamic, right? It's really different. So responding to life, that's the strategy. That's basically how I am supposed to dance with life, which is correct for me. And when I'm saying correct, I mean I use the energy and I use what I have, what I can bring here. I use my definition in the most optimal way, in the most healthy way, in the most vital way. And if I'm trying to initiate from my mind and make things happen and and just not living from that response place, so not waiting to respond, but I'm just going to do all these things from a mental place, then I'm not using all this energy. So everything that is colored in here that I have access to and the energy that I can have, I'm not using it in a vital way. It gets a bit distorted. It's the frequency of the energy is not used in a correct way. That's basically what is happening then. And it can cause burnout, or it can cause fatigue, and it can cause the degeneration of the energy instead of generation of the energy. And it can cause a lot of frustration, which is the not self theme. And I've mentioned the not self a little bit earlier. And the not self is basically, the place within me from where I will make decisions and I will initiate from when I'm not living in response. But it's the mental stories, the mental realm, the mental space. And that frustration, ooh, that's really something I notice. And which is nice because now I have the language and I have this anchor that I can see, that I can become aware of when I am in frustration, when I'm frustrated, when I'm pushing through, when I'm, when I notice within myself that I'm frustrated and that nothing is really working out, then I can take a pause, I can step back and I can reflect on it and I can ask myself, hey, did I respond to something? Did I let life come to me? Or was I initiating from my mind, pushing through, thinking something should be happening or thinking I should be doing something because of some mental activity there or the stories that I'm telling myself? That's really interesting. And I'm not saying that I'm never going to be frustrated in my life again. That's not what this is about. It's about, living life as myself and doing the things and giving my energy and using my energy for the things that my sacral says yes to. And then I will find satisfaction, which is the signature theme. The opposition of the frustration is basically the satisfaction. And for the generators, the signature is satisfaction. And it means that, we are here to be satisfied with whatever we do. So if I feel, and if you feel that also, if you're a generator, if you feel satisfied, that's a deep satisfaction. That's a sign that you're living as yourself, that you living your design. And it doesn't matter what that looks like, right? There's no generalized way of this is what satisfaction looks like, or this is what gives you satisfaction. No, that's totally unique and different for you. So it's also something you can reflect upon, you can ponder about, contemplate, like what is really giving me satisfaction? What kind of work, what kind of activities? And it's about using your energy in a satisfied way. And it can be playing, but it can also be doing the laundry and then having really nice smelling clean sheets you can go into sleep in. That can also be super satisfying, or cooking a really nice meal can also be really satisfying. So it doesn't have to be a big life thing or a big life event. But the satisfaction versus the frustration, that's really the important theme for us as generators. And we're here to know ourselves, right? To learn about who we are and what satisfies us in our life. And the only place actually that's reliable for me to make decisions from in response is my sacral center. So which is your authority. So you have the type is the aura. Then we have the strategy, which is the dance, the interaction with life. And then we have the authority, which is the place within yourself, within your body, that is reliable for you to make decisions from. And spoiler, spoiler, it's never the mind. And it can be different for everyone. There are 7 different authority types, different authorities. So I'm not going to go into all of those. I'm just using myself as an example. And for me, it's the sacral center. So again, it's this center. So this is the center I am responding from, so it draws life to me. And at the same time, it's also the place for me to make decisions from. And there's no awareness here in this center. This center, basically the only thing it can do is, in response, say, uh-huh or uh-uh. Do I have energy? Life force energy, fertility, sexual energy, whatever it is. Do I have energy for what is coming towards me? Do I have energy for this? Yes or no? It's super simple. But of course, then there's the mental stories. But if you really look at the mechanics, basically only the mechanics, it's super simple. It's what I have energy for in each new moment. This is an in the moment authority. It's in the now. It's not in a week. So yeah, it can be that the energy is there one moment and then the next it's not. That's what can happen. So that's why it's really important for me to listen to whatever my sacral center responds to. And because there's no awareness, and because the mechanics here, it only works, can only respond with available or no, not available. It works best if I can respond to options. So for example, do you want pizza? Do you want fruit? Okay, weird example, but anyway, do you want banana? Do you want apple? And then I can go to either one of them. Or if someone asks me yes or no questions. Do you want pizza for dinner? Do you want to have oatmeal for breakfast? Do you want to go to this party tonight? Do you want to go for a walk? Those kind of questions. And then my sacral, from this place here, from my gut, that feeling in my lower belly, can then respond to that with a or mm-mm. And basically, well, it's super simple, and the sacral can either respond with sounds. So it's that guttural sounds I was just making, like or 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 ooh or It can look differently or it can sound differently, but it can either be that, or it can obviously be a feeling deep down in my belly, or it can be a pull or movement of my body towards something or away from something, or maybe my face is doing something. It is a response to something from my body, but not from up here, not from the mind. And every authority obviously works differently, but this is, in a nutshell, how the sacral works. And then what you see here, you see definition. That is all about how your life force energy, so how your channels and how the energy flows within you. And for me here it says single, and single means that it's all connected. As you can see here, all my channels and all the centers, they are flowing in one way. So they're all connected. There's no splits. There's nothing to be bridged here. It all flows in one way. It's all connected to each other. And that's what means single. And then the profile. The profile is basically the character or the costume you wear this life. If you see the type as the role, and life is like a play, the type is like the role you play in this life. And then the strategy is how this role is interacting with everyone else, with life. And then the authority is how this role best makes decisions. And then the profile is what's the character of this specific role. So it's, if you say, yeah, what kind of role I am, I'm a manifesting generator. So what kind of manifesting generator am I here to be? What role? What character? And you see two numbers here, and in total there are 12 different types of profiles. And the profile, it's nice to dive into it a little bit, because it can tell you a lot about who you are. And it's based on the sun and the earth of the personality side and the design side. And the sun, the earth is like 70% of who you are. So the imprinting of the sun is 70%. So yeah, it's an important factor in your design. So how is this profile, how does it come together if you look at your design? It's based on these two. So not necessarily the gates, but the line. So that's the line is what is happening after the dot. So here, excuse my drawing skills, but you see it's a 0.5. Here also 0.5. So for me, that's my conscious profile line is a 5. And we go to the design side, you see these two, the sun and the earth, and then you see a 0.2. 0.2. So the 2 is the unconscious line. And so together that makes a 5-2 as a profile. And in total there are 6 lines. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then there's different combinations. So you can be a 1-3 or 6-3 or 6-2 or 5-2 or 1-4 or 3-6, 3-5 and so on. And then there's 12 in total. And here the 5-2 it's a more rare profile of the 12. And there's a lot of projection here. There's a lot of there's a big projection field here. And the 5 is called the heretic, and the 2 is called the hermit. So I'm a heretic hermit. Consciously a heretic, body side is a hermit. And the 5 is all about, the 5 is here to universalize things. It's the messenger, the hero, the savior, and it has everything to do with bringing practical solutions for others, especially strangers. Works well with strangers. But there's also the projection field of that draws in others, and people project onto the 5 that it can be the hero, that it has all the solutions, that it can be the savior, that it can fix things. That's also something I have to deal with. For me, I'm always being projected on that I can be the savior or the hero or know certain things and being able to help the other, which is true in a way because it's part of me. But the most important thing is that I do that and I honor that only from my authority. but in the end, it's important for me to bring practical solutions, to to universalize things, and to help others with that. Because otherwise, it will ruin my reputation as a heretic. But also a heretic is also someone who is here to bring a new way, to challenge things, to be the heretic, basically. And that comes with challenges sometimes, well, especially because of the projection field. And then there's the two, which is for me is the unconscious side, and the two is the hermit. The hermit, but also the natural. It's the one who needs a long time, and is good at things. Is naturally gifted, but it doesn't know. It doesn't know how it does what it does. It doesn't know why you're good at things. You're just good at it, but you're not aware of it. So there's always also the projections of other people, and the two will receive the call from the outside. And people, for the two, often people are saying, you're really good at this, you should do something with it, or you should be doing this, or you should, because people see things in the two that the two is not seeing itself. So as a two, you were getting a lot of calls from the outside, but the main thing here is that you wait for the right call, the correct call. So for me, in this combination, it's important for me to wait for the right call. So really be selective there to wait for the right call that I can universalize. Using my natural gifts to universalize. And also pulling myself out of that. So that's a little bit in a nutshell. And then on the last, you see the incarnation cross. I'm not going to go into that so deep, but it actually means, it talks about your destination in this life and what you're here to bring out, to live out. And for me, it's the left angle cross of industry, and it's left angle because my conscious profile line is the 5, and the left angle cross are all the profiles that start with a 5 or a 6. So it's only 4, I think, in total. So it's the 5-1, the 5-2, the 6-3, and the 6-2. And those are the left angle crosses. And it basically means that we are here, we have a transpersonal karma, and we are here to, we're more linked to others. And whoever we meet here in this life has a potential to change our direction and course correct our life. And we're here to basically clean up karma, or not create it, if you wanna call it that way. And the right angle is more profiles are right angle, and then you're here to create your own karma. You're more into your own life. You have a personal destiny, and that's kind of different. So the incarnation cross, it's made out of these 4 gates. So it's the personality Sun Earth, so the 29, the 30, and then the 20, 34. That's what makes my incarnation cross, and also for you. And you can look it up somewhere, and probably will state something that is quite vague, maybe 2-3 sentences. It's not something I believe you have to know or dig into, especially not in the first first year or first part of your experiment. Because in the end, if you live your design, if you live your strategy and your authority, which is the main parts. So for me, it's when I respond to life and make decisions from my sacral, my incarnation cross, so my destination, it will happen. And it will unfold for me, and I don't have to know mentally, on a mental level, what that will look like. I can't really know, and I don't have to know. And it's not something I can pursue. So knowing it, it doesn't really help me in my experiment. It's just, it gives a language to something, and it's interesting to see, and it can help with becoming aware and, seeing that unfold, of course. But it's not something I can do or change or control. So, this was a little bit in a nutshell, how to read your design and what the basic themes, the basic words, and the surface level of the chart or the design, what it means. So of course, if this spikes your curiosity, if you feel like you want to learn a little bit more, go a little bit deeper into your design, what it specifically, how the energy specifically works for you, then feel free to contact me. You can look on my website to book a session that suits you, or an audio reading. I hope you really liked it. I love doing it. Gave me a lot of satisfaction. When I'm all amped up, I use my energy well, and now, my sacral is done for this video. So hope to see you in the next one.